Hello, crafty friends. It's Lori Bradley, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in St. Louis, Missouri. And my fun fold for this week, for Fun Fold Friday, I'm going to call a diamond on the front Z-fold that opens like this. And we have a special diamond on the front that adds a little bit of pizzazz. All right, let's make our card for this week. I started with a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock, and I scored it at 5 1/2 in the middle and 2 1/8. Actually, I guess that would be 2 1/8 and 5 1/2. And it's going to fold like this. It's going to fold in half and then fold back. Okay, so there's the Z. That makes our Z. Now, we want to make a diamond on the front. Okay, so to make that happen, I'm going to measure 2 1/8 inches. Okay, and I know it's difficult sometimes to do 1/8 of an inch, but our paper's 4 1/2 or 4 1/4, so we need our mark to be right in the middle. And 2 1/8, there's the 2-inch line, and each of these tiny little lines is 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so 2 of those lines, so there's 2. This line right here would be 2 1/8. I'm gonna make a dot right there on the edge of my cardstock. Okay, so that is exactly halfway on our flap. I'm going to turn it so that that dot is on my cutter blade. Let me scoot it up so you can see, on the cutter blade, right where it goes, and I'm gonna cut down to the bottom of that score line. Okay, let's do that. Just like that, and we're going to have this little triangle that we cut off. Then we're going to turn it, and we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side to make the point. And since we did it in the middle, our lines should be equal. All right, so now we have this little triangle flap, which is perfect in size. Thank goodness we got that. So now we just need to assemble our card, and it's going to fold on the left side and the flap will go back. All right, so I have cut a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of white cardstock, and I have 2 pieces of designer series paper, and this designer series paper is from, let me double check the name really, just to be quick, the Floral Impressions designer series paper. I have a 4-inch, I cut a 4-inch strip, and this is 3 1/8, so 3 1/8 by 4, and this one is 2 1/4 by 4. So we're gonna put that smaller side onto our white panel, and that's actually going to go on the inside. We want it to be wide enough so that it doesn't show our white piece from the front. We want our designer series paper to be the star. Okay, so we've got that, and then that piece will go on the inside. This is the easy part. Just put that right on the inside of our card. I love it when it's we've done a Z-fold recently, and we've made it into a little fancier a couple of different times. So a basic Z-fold can look so different on so many different cards. So be sure to check out all of those. All right, so we have the inside of our card. Now on the front flap, that's where we're going to put this 3 1/8 inch piece. And we did 1/8 on that one, 3 1/8, because this was 1/8 of an inch cut right here. So we want to make sure that our margins are the same all the way around. Put that down right there, and that will be the same length as the other panel of the sunflower, black-eyed Susan. I'm not sure what those are actually called, flowers. And then we have this triangle on the front. So what we're going to do with that, now I used another piece of Darling Duckling, on the front, and we are going to place it at an angle like this, so it's going to look like a diamond. Now, if you so chose, we could have done the garden green and done a contrasting color, but I'm just going to keep it all the same. That can be up to you, depending on what your designer series paper looks like. This piece, which is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, can be the same color as your card base, or it can be contrasting so that it matches your designer series paper. But since my other piece of designer series paper was the dark green. I decided to just keep it a little bit brighter. And this piece of designer series paper is 2.5 by 2.5. And we're just going to glue that right onto that square, which is going to become a diamond because we're turning it on its side. Now, we're going to glue that onto the front of our card, but we have to be careful when we do it because it's only going to get glued on half. We don't want to put the adhesive on the whole back because it is, you glue your card together. So I'm just going to put glue on half of the diamond, like that, and we're going to glue that onto that triangle shaped flap. And there will be an extra little darling duckling border around the outside, but that way it's all the same. All right, so that's our basic card. Now let's decorate it just a little bit. And I have a stylish shaped circle that I've die cut, and I have from the Right Words stamp set, You're So Kind. I'm gonna make this a thank you card, and I'm gonna do that in garden green ink. There we go. And I'm just going simple with this one. I'm going to use Darling Duckling Faux Linen Ribbon. If you don't have any of this, you need some. All of the in colors, the new in colors, the 2025 in colors have a faux linen ribbon, and it's light, it's lightweight, it's pretty, it's easy to put into bows. I'm not a good bow maker, so we're just going to do a little wrap on the back. I'm going to put the tape on it, just like that, and then we'll use a couple of dimensionals to hold that up. We want that to stand up because that ribbon is a little thick. It's not thick, but it's thick enough that if we put regular adhesive, it would not necessarily stick very well. And then we will put this on the front of our card right here, right in the center of that. You can decorate that any way that you want. It's an easy shape, whatever you'd like to put there in the middle. And then I have some low profile dots, the gold and the petal pink. And I'm just gonna put a couple of those right on the front. These are really low and then they're hard to get a hold of. So I'm gonna put one there. You can see me struggle with that just a little bit to get those on there. And then let's go with another one over on the side, just for fun. All right, there you have it. Like I said, I'm calling this the Diamond Front Fold Z, Diamond Front Z Fold. There we go. And it is just a fun little addition. Makes it look like you worked really hard to make that super fancy, and it's just some extra squares. So thank you for watching today's Fun Fold. I'll see you back next week for Fun Fold Friday. Have a great rest of your week.